Hi, everyone. Welcome to the December edition of the Ask SAP live chat. My name is Avery Horshevsky, and I'm the social media lead for SAP Analytics. And with me today are Jayne Landry, Global VP and General Manager of Hybrid Analytics and SAP Leonardo, and Blair Wheadon, General Manager of Data Discovery. Our topic this month is going to be SAP Lumira 2.0, as well as the concept of bringing IT and business together. Now, throughout the chat, we welcome and encourage questions at any point, so don't hesitate to post them using the commenting feature. And if you're catching this on replay, you can also post your questions and we'll follow up after the fact. And if for some reason we don't get to all of your questions, we'll make sure again to follow up using the commenting feature on this Facebook live chat. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jayne and Blair, and then I will pop out of the picture, and then I'll join the conversation again towards the end. Jayne and Blair?
Thanks very much, Avery, and welcome everyone. We're super excited to talk to you today about Lumira 2.0. And certainly since we released, even before we released Lumira 2.0, we saw a lot of interest from the market. It was one of the most requested betas in SAP history. In fact, I think it was the most requested beta in SAP's history. And our beta team was saying, we have to close it off, but we kept getting more and more requests. So thank you first for your interest, even in the pre-release phase. And since we've GA'd, we've had close to 20,000 downloads of Lumira. So thank you again for your interest to check it out and see what the latest and greatest is. So Blair, given the launch of Lumira and how it's going, what are you hearing from customers around the 2.0 release?
Yeah, so of course, Jayne, thank you for the question, and hello, everyone. What we're hearing about 2.0 is one of the key themes about 2.0 is bringing together the ability to provide self-service data discovery and analytic applications into a single solution. So by combining those two capabilities together into a single product with a single file format, that's really excited a lot of customers because that provides some prototyping capability and accelerates the delivery of those advanced dashboarding projects. We talk a lot with customers as we, in our travels, and one of the stories that we've heard is how existing customers of Design Studio and now Lumira Designer are using Lumira Designer to empower the business. So lines of business are now being trained up with prepackaged templates and training from IT so that they can be more agile in responding to the requirements of the customers. So this is how Lumira is enabling rapid response to business requirements without direct IT development. Now, this whole element of building templates and training people and power users that sit in the line of business, it's really important because it shows how important both people and process is to the delivery of business intelligence. It's not just all a technology problem that can be solved with software.
Yeah, definitely. And we're really looking forward to hearing from questions from our audience today. So feel free to start posting those questions. And we're looking forward to making this a really interactive discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Jayne. So one of the key themes in Lumira 2.0 was bringing together IT and business. So can you tell me a little bit about how that works with Lumira 2.0?
Yeah, and when we looked at the market around data discovery, what we were seeing was most of the data discovery vendors out there were doing a great job of meeting the needs of the business user and providing a tool that delivered the agility, but it often came at a cost, and that cost was it ran rogue across organizations, and then IT was asked to clean up the mess. And so we were finding that the business users and IT were really having a challenge of coming together. And so with Lumira 2.0, we've really worked to solve that challenge and bring IT and business back together again. So we've really focused on those end-to-end workflows where a business user may just have a one-off question and quickly needs an answer. So you've got that agility for the business user to go and find that answer and move forward and make that decision. But often it's a common question that comes up time and time again. And so with Lumira 2.0, we're enabling business users to quickly get the answer, but then engage with IT to say, hey, can you help me put this into production at scale for the organization so that other people can benefit from this? And that's where we enable you to start in Lumira Discovery, find the answer, but then pass that work over to a designer or developer to really create a polished, production-ready application, a very sophisticated application that can be, made available at scale right across the organization. So I see we've got our first question here, Blair. Will you be adding features to visualizations to eliminate the plotting of zero values? Currently, trend charts will plot zero values for week, month, year, instead of stopping where the to-date data stops.
Yeah, hi, Carl, and thanks for the question. Actually, that's a very timely question because just tomorrow we're going to be releasing Lumira 2.1, December 15th. And one of the features in Lumira Discovery in 2.1 is going to be support for time series charts. Now, I'm not sure if there's the exact feature that you're talking about in time series charts, but in this time series chart feature we have planned, if we have the ability to filter on those zero data values. But another feature is the ability to filter on measure. So if you do have a zero data value in your data series, you can filter that out using the new filter on measure feature in Lumira 2.1 and then plot it in a time series chart.
Thank you for that question. A great answer, Blair. And actually, while we're on the topic of Lumira 2.1, that comes out tomorrow, December 15th, and I know customers are really looking forward to that release as well. So why don't you share with folks what they can look forward to with the 2.1 release?
Yeah, thanks, Jayne. So for those unfamiliar with Lumira in general, there's three components to Lumira. There's Lumira Designer, which is the successor to Design Studio 1.x. There's Discovery, which is the successor to Lumira Desktop 1.x. And there's Lumira Server, which is the server component for both of those. So there's new features across the board in all three of those components in Lumira 2.1 that's being released tomorrow. So starting with Lumira Designer, we are focusing on adding a number of features to help the Business Explorer Bex customers replace Bex Web Application Designer. So we're adding the ability to dynamically create composites at runtime for designer applications. And a composite is a custom aggregation of multiple components. So you can imagine a tile that might have a measure displayed on it and a trend and some text. So you can bundle all that together into a standard tile format for your organization and define that as a reusable composite. So those can be created at runtime in designer applications. The next designer feature is taking advantage of the BI 4.2 platform commentary framework. So we're adding the ability to now collaborate and add comments on data values within designer applications using that commentary framework. And finally, the next major feature is scheduled distribution of PDF to PDF output for documents and bookmarks. And in addition, for those BW-centric customers, these schedules can be triggered based on BW process chains, so it can integrate directly into your BW landscape. So that's the three main features in Lumira Designer. Of course, that's not all, there's more. But I'm going to move on to Lumira Server. Lumira Server is improved with a number of new features as well. It's integrated into the new BI Launchpad that has adopted a Fiori UI. So we introduced this Fiori BI Launchpad in BI 4.2 SP4 that was released over the summer. But now with BI 4.2 SP5, which is also coming out tomorrow, December 15th, along with Lumira 2.1, we're adding support for Lumira stories to be embedded into the Fiori-like BI Launchpad. Lumira Server can also be used to create brand new data discovery stories based on BW Live data in addition to the already supported HANA Live data sources. So this enables the creation of brand new stories right within Lumira Server based on either a BW query or a HANA calculation view. So this whole story creation and modification process is done completely on Lumira Server without any desktop client required. And finally, on the theme of governance, we're adding support for more security rights and policies on the server side so that administrators have more fine-grained control over data governance and data protection, and that can be administered centrally by BI platform administrators. And last but not least, there's new features in the area of Lumira Discovery. So Lumira Discovery is upgraded by adding element linking so that by clicking on individual chart elements, they can filter other charts within the same story page. We also support filter on measure as we discussed on the previous question. We're adding forecasting support with trend and regression lines along with time series charts as well. We've improved conditional formatting with rule sets, and input controls can also be customized as well. So those are the major features that are being released in the 2.1. This is not an exhaustive list, of course, but that's a pretty good summary.
Yeah, so Christmas is really coming early this year, right? We've got Lumira 2.1 and BI 4.2 SP5, and great features there, Blair, across designer, discovery, and integration with the BI platform. And actually, I noticed a tweet this morning around BI 4.2 SP5 as well, and people saying, wow, I can't believe how much is in that release. So those two combined, I think, are going to be really compelling. And we got a note here from Ramesh saying, great that time series can be of big use for predictive analytics. So that's great. Thanks, Ramesh, for that comment. We also had another question that came up through the chat, and it was around what are the key deliverables in analytics in terms of domain expertise. So, first, if we think about what's the definition of analytics, today that covers BI, predictive, and planning. And so there's a broad range of capabilities within that. And we also see with analytics that you'll have casual business users, which are business professionals. We often call them information workers, so they're just willing to ask a question as they go about their daily work, right up to people who've really spent their careers in analytics. So if you think about probably the highest end of the spectrum with those predictive analytics capabilities, then you're talking about the realm of data scientists who have been, building mathematical models and training those predictive models, and that's an art as much as it is a science, and then making those models available to organizations. One of the trends that we're seeing is that those higher-end capabilities, those more advanced capabilities like predictive analytics, because of the need to have a data scientist, really have only been in the hands of a few people in an organization. So what's happening now with things like AI and machine learning is we're able to take those algorithms and actually embed them into things like business intelligence tools to make them more accessible and available to a casual business user. Now, that doesn't mean we're expecting your casual business user to start being able to understand and build models in R. What it means, though, is that we're able to embed those algorithms and make insights available to that business user right at their fingertips. So, for example, typically when you get a report, you'll see what happened this period and how it compared with the period before, quarter over quarter or year on year. But what it doesn't tell you is what was causing that. With things like machine learning embedded within BI tools, we can now do things like smart discovery, where we start to surface those insights to the business user. So I think, analytics is interesting in terms of there's great opportunities in terms of, what sort of skills you need and how you can develop a career in analytics. But where we're seeing it go is making analytics capabilities really simple so that all of us can take advantage of them as we do our day-to-day work. Blair, anything else from your perspective on, what those key deliverables in terms of domain expertise are in analytics?
Yeah, I mean, I think one trend that we're seeing now, Jayne, certainly in addition to the machine learning part that you mentioned, is the new hardware and software technologies are enabling the convergence of what used to be separate areas of analytics, right? So, historically, analytics was broken down into, BI and predictive and planning as sort of separate domains, but increasingly they're being blended together into a single holistic analytics solution that spans all those domains. And that's just with the natural advancement of both hardware and software capabilities, is enabling those prior point solutions to be combined together into a more holistic offering to solve a broader range of business problems.
Yeah, and we've been seeing that happening on premise, for example, around bringing business plan consolidation together with Analysis Office to be able to create end-to-end workflows there, and planning in BI. And with Analytics Cloud, we certainly had an opportunity to, as you say, break down those barriers between BI, planning, and predictive and deliver one solution that allows you to actually go end-to-end. We had a follow-up question from Ramesh on what the role of machine learning is in SAP Analytics. So great question. Thank you for that one, Ramesh. We're seeing it all over the place. So, for example, we're using machine learning to do things like time series forecasting and outlier detection in Lumira and in Analytics Cloud. And we're actually seeing through the work that we're doing with Leonardo use cases where we're bringing machine learning to bear to do everything from image classification in refrigerators to, we've just got a use case right now, which is to, in the high-tech and discrete manufacturing area, where today things are paid for by CapEx, and we're using machine learning to see how can we look at that capital expenditure and convert it into an OPEX expenditure where people can pay as they go. So really interesting use cases there. We've got a whole machine learning team that we work with very closely, and we're looking at how we can take the machine learning algorithms and embed them within our analytics capabilities to make our analytics applications smarter and more capable. But they're also producing machine learning applications to solve things like service ticketing or matching invoices against bank statements, so cash management. So really, really interesting use cases there that are driving a lot of value for customers.
Yeah, and let me address Carl's question there. Will you be addressing general usability improvements in Discovery? And let me just sort of acknowledge where Lumira Discovery came from in Lumira 1.x and what we heard with that UI and how we reacted and responded to that feedback and how that informed Lumira 2.0. So one of the design aspects of Lumira 1.0 was we had separate visualize and compose rooms. So there would be one area where you would create a visualization, and then a second separate area where you would assemble those visualizations into a story on a canvas. And the feedback we heard was that introduced a bit of a discontinuity in the workflow. So what we did in response was to combine those two workflows together. So in a single canvas, you can now work on a single visualization by zooming into it, or you can arrange multiple visualizations on that canvas along with your input controls. So that's a huge step forward for usability for Lumira 2.0. Now, I think the next step, as Carl's alluding to, is just more refinements in that direction. On top of that core, how are we going to do, enable things like changing of attributes of multiple measures at once? And that level of polish, you're right, Carl, you can look forward to in 2.1 additional usability and performance and quality improvements, and more of that to come in the roadmap plan for next year.
And just a follow-up comment from Carl there that he's taken advantage of the discovery and designer interoperability for a recent project, and it's a great capability in Lumira 2.0. So really pleased to hear that. That's what we had heard from customers as we were doing the scoping of 2.0. So I'm really pleased to hear that that's providing value and benefit to people that are out there.
Yeah, and the way I like to think about it is, we've got simple visualizations. If you think of it as a continuum, you've got simple visualizations on one end of a continuum where it might be just a bar chart or a line chart for tomorrow's team meeting, and then at the other extreme, you've got sophisticated analytic applications and dashboards for a C-level dashboarding project with a 7-figure budget, right? Those are two extremes of really the same continuum. And what's really neat about bringing together Discovery and Designer is it spans that entire use case where you've got, a casual business user that might need to generate a chart, once every month or two. They've got an easy to use tool in the form of Lumira Discovery that they can, use quickly. It's not overwhelming. There's not a lot of sophistication or scripting capability there to get confused out. So it's very easy to pick up and learn. But then if that business user does create a visualization that they want to promote into something more formal, maybe an analytic app or a dashboard, then a power user IT can just open that file, grab that visualization, copy it into the new analytic application, polish it up, add some scripting, add some interactivity, maybe even add some write-back capabilities with integration into planning models. All of that's possible today with the integration between Discovery and Designer. So that's great validation, Carl. Thanks for sharing your experience on that.
Yeah, and the other thing that I've seen that workflow used for is to do rapid prototyping and taking a design thinking approach to your BI projects. So we're at SAP, we're big advocates for design thinking. Hasso was part of a movement to found a design school out of Stanford University, and we've seen great results from that. And within SAP, we have about 300 people that are trained on a design thinking approach. We've used it internally for projects that are around innovation or strategic projects, and it has really great results. And when you use design thinking, the idea is to bring your business users who are going to be part of and using the actual solution into the process right from the get-go and do some brainstorming, but then very quickly move into a rapid prototyping phase where you do, have a prototype that you quickly build out and business users can touch and feel and provide feedback on. And the other thing you can do with Lumira 2.0 is just that, because they can start with Discovery, you can work with them to do that rapid prototype, and then all that work you can hand over and open up that very same file in Designer and then take it from there to actually deliver the solution for those users. So I think that's another really interesting scenario, and a design thinking approach has been proven in recent research that it significantly increases the success rate of innovation projects. So I'd encourage everyone to try it out for that as well and let us know what you think. So Blair, there are a number of other tools on the market today. What would you say is better about Lumira 2.1 and 2.0?
Yeah, I think about this question, from two different angles, Jayne. The first is, what we've talked about, how Lumira brings business users and IT users together. And we've talked a lot about that already, about how that combination of Discovery and Designer enables business and IT to collaborate in ways that wasn't possible before. So not only does it surface governed data with all that important semantic information needed to interpret it, but it also enables those business users to work independently of IT for ad hoc data discovery projects. But if there's ever a need to promote that project into a formal dashboard, it's very easy to do. The second reason is a passion of mine, and that's better data access to all types of governed data, whether it's in SAP BW, SAP HANA, or business objects universes. And I think we've all been part of IT projects or seen IT projects where a lot of effort goes into modeling the data layer. And it doesn't matter what technology is used, whether it's a data warehouse in Teradata or whether it's HANA or BW, only to see business users turn around and export to Excel. So you invest all this time and effort to create these beautiful models with precise relationships, and then it just ends up in an Excel spreadsheet. So that tells me that there's more to do on the BI side to surface all of that power and capability that exists in today's governed high-speed in-memory data sources, and surface that power to the business user, so the business user no longer has a need or a reason to export to Excel. And Lumira does this using an internal protocol called BICS, or BICS, and this provides full support to all of that metadata that can be defined in BW. Other tools use the MDX protocol, which only supports a subset of the BW metadata. So what this means is that Lumira can support certain features in BW that other data discovery tools cannot. So these are features like time-dependent hierarchies. Like what that means is, the ability to look at a cost center hierarchy as it existed last year, or look at an HR hierarchy as it existed 3 years ago. Units of measure, so that you understand, okay, I've got a key figure here, but is it tons? Is it pounds? What's the unit of measure? Currency formatting, currency conversion. It's so easy these days just to blindly add up a bunch of numbers on the assumption that they're all the same currency, right? But guaranteed that mistake is happening somewhere today, where somebody is adding up rupees and US dollars and coming up with a nonsensical result. Numeric formatting can be defined and made consistent. You can support hierarchies with multiple characteristics and scaling factors and more. So what this means is that all of that hard work and effort that goes into modeling your business in the BW layer can be fully leveraged within SAP Lumira. Now, this may sound a little technical and a little geeky. However, things like these business semantics are really crucial to enable business users to interpret the data. This is what turns raw data into information that helps business users make better business decisions. So it's not just about BW, it's also about HANA as well. So Lumira also supports accessing parent-child hierarchies defined in HANA using our new connector there as well. So again, this is additional functionality that's over and above the standard JDBC and ODBC connector. And this is the strategic direction for the HANA platform, is to support this new INA-based connector that Lumira 2.0 supports. And of course, when it comes to universes, only Lumira can access SAP Business Objects universes, and it does a great job accessing those universes as well. So that's really the way I look at that question in terms of what's different about Lumira and what does it do better.
Great, thanks very much, Blair. And we've got a follow-up question here around, would we mind discussing the roadmap for mobility? I noticed that support for iPhone is missing, but iPad exists. So I can start with that one, and maybe Blair, you can add to it. We've our mobile strategy for Lumira is to be able to bring your Lumira content into Mobi, or Business Objects Mobile, which is a mobile container where if you're using it today, you're probably already using it for your web intelligence documents and your Crystal reports documents. So one mobile container for all your on-premise BI content. So Lumira, you can start to do that with your Lumira content as well today. And as we look out to 2018, mobility is one of the key things we have on our roadmap to do further improvements on for next year. So and then, Blair, do you want to add anything to that in terms of specifically what's coming there?
Sure. So The situation today is we actually support on an iPad. If you create that visualization with Discovery, then that visualization can be consumed offline on an iPad today using the mobile BI solution. So in terms of what's planned for phones, I think we would need to just double check on the roadmap there, Carl, and loop back on the iPhone. But if you take that Lumira, so that's for pure Discovery applications, but if you take your Lumira Discovery app and open it in Designer, then that can be consumed natively on a phone here. And I'm just looking at a slide right now that shows all this, and I wish I could paste it into this chat because I think it explains it really well. So just to net it all out for you, Carl, Discovery supports online and offline consumption on iOS tablets today. If you want to consume it on an iPhone or on an Android, that would have to be turned into a Designer application, and then those are supported online only. So I hope that helps. Thank you.
Yeah, and I've just seen a quick update here. So Rena Sethi is the product manager for mobile BI, and she's just let me know that the Lumira Discovery Stories are accessed today on iPads using Mobi 6.6, and we'll soon be extending that support for Android and iPhone as well. So in addition to the path that Blair talked about, where you take the Discovery Story into Designer and then use that to publish to Mobi for iPhone, we'll also have that Discovery support on iPhone directly as well. So great news there. And we've also got a blog that we will post into the chat that tells you more about how you can run Lumira 2.0 on mobile devices. So we'll get that over to you as well.
Jayne, isn't Rena supposed to be on mat leave?
I know. It's amazing. I'm not sure if it was from her blog post that we pulled that, or whether she's actually online with us right now.
All right, good. Thanks, Carl. Thanks for the great questions there. Yeah, that's right. Looks like Carl's got some feedback on that. I see you've discovered the adaptive layout container for Lumira Designer, and that's working well for you. So yeah, that's a great addition in 2.0, and I'm glad that's working as intended. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit, and since it is December 14th, I know I'm certainly thinking a little bit about what's happening next year. Jayne, what do we have planned for Lumira in 2018?
Yeah, well, since we GA'd Lumira, we've been doing surveys with customers to sort of understand what's working, what's not working, what you like, areas for improvement. The feedback overall has been really positive. People are liking a lot of the new features in Designer. The one-way workflow that we support today, ask for the two-way workflow to be able to go not only from a discovery story to Designer, but be able to go back again. So that's certainly been an ask. And then on the discovery side, people are really liking the new UI that Blair talked about earlier. So that's been positive. But we've also heard we've still got some work to do, especially on the discovery side. There's some additional features that people would like to see there. And then also some comments on just improving and continuing to enhance the performance, particularly on open of Lumira. So those things, some of them were already on our agenda for Lumira 2.1. So with that coming out tomorrow, I encourage you to download that and check out and see the work we've done, enhancements on performance, enhancements on, those end-to-end workflows that we talked about. And then for 2018, we're looking at having a couple of additional releases, so Lumira 2.2 and 2.3. And some of the things that we'll be working on for those releases include an enhanced mobile experience, which we just talked about, as well as bringing parity, as we have for Analysis Office with BW, into the Lumira experience as well. And the other big theme for us for next year is going to be around hybrid. So we're seeing customers rapidly start to move to the cloud and start to take advantage of things like analytics cloud. And so we're really looking at how we can support customers as they start to tackle digital transformation. This is probably one of the biggest changes that's happened in our industry in many years. The digital revolution that's now upon us is expected to fundamentally change the way that we work and live and interact with others. And almost every scenario around digital transformation has a strong analytics component. So as customers start to tackle that journey, we recognize that they're going to have data that's on-premise, they're going to have data that's on cloud, they've got BI assets on-premise today and BI assets that are in the cloud. So we're really starting to think about, with the 2018 releases, how we can really help customers with those hybrid scenarios. And from a Lumira perspective specifically, that includes things like being able to leverage your Lumira data sets to use as a starting point as you bring them into Analytics Cloud. And on the designer side, actually bringing some more of those designer-like capabilities into what we can do with cloud as well.
Yeah, that's right. So continuing on the theme there of hybrid, Jayne, one new key solution that you may not be aware of that we introduced this year is something called SAP Analytics Hub. And SAP Analytics Hub is an optimized analytics portal that solves the problem of where do users go to find their analytics. And this is a problem that every organization has, right? So there's always multiple analytic solutions, whether they're cloud-based, whether they're on-premise, whether they're from SAP or not, whether they're from a commercial vendor or built in-house. So SAP Analytics Hub, you can think of it as basically your analytics catalog. Users can find and search and filter reports and documents and launch them easily, or even just discover them. So if you're familiar with the BI Launchpad only surfaces to customers the analytics, or to users the analytics that they are authorized to view. Analytics Hub takes a different approach. We surface in Analytics Hub a tile for every analytic, whether you're authorized to see it or not. But we also include in that tile instructions on how to get authorization in case you're not authorized to run it. So this helps with solving the discoverability problem of analytics. I don't know how many times I've gone in the past and pulled data and extracted data and manipulated data to try to answer a question, and then only to discover there's a report that already answers it. So just imagine all the time that gets wasted in that workflow today. So Analytics Hub solves that problem by making your analytics much more discoverable. Anything that can be accessed with a URL can be configured as a tile in Analytics Hub. And once it's set up, there's full text search, there's filtering based on keywords, the metadata schema is completely customizable, and it also supports large format touchscreens. So you can use your phone or your iPad to navigate Analytics Hub and find and launch those documents. So as we transition in this hybrid world from almost all on-prem to some on-prem and some cloud, analytics are going to be scattered all over the place. So we need something like Analytics Hub to bring it all together to make it easy for end users to find their analytics. So that's one part of the hybrid strategy. The other part, we alluded to earlier, is Analytics Cloud. And we were talking about how Analytics Cloud takes advantage of this trend towards combining multiple elements of analytics into a single holistic solution. So it covers data discovery, it covers light predictive use cases with the Smart Discovery and Smart Insights features, and it also supports planning. And on top of that, it also supports large format touchscreens with the Digital Boardroom. So Digital Boardroom enables a holistic conversation around past performance, predicted outcomes, and simulations based on what-if analysis to happen all within a single solution. And even though it's hosted on the cloud, we recognize the reality that many organizations, especially in regulated industries, have data that is secured and cannot leave the premises. So SAP Analytics Cloud enables access to that on-premise data without replication. So this means if you're an organization that has sensitive data that cannot leave the firewall, then SAP Analytics Cloud can access it. So what we plan to do by the middle of next year is we want to combine Analytics Hub, Analytics Cloud, and the Business Objects Enterprise solution that includes Lumira into a single subscription license, and we'll call that a hybrid license. So this will provide a single seamless package that will enable that transition from on-premise to the cloud. Is the couch available? Yeah, we'll even throw in a couch for you, Andrew. Would you like a lazy boy with that? So yeah, with this single subscription license, it will include everything that you need to enable to make that transition from hybrid to or from on-premise to cloud at the pace that you need. Because we're not really interested in rushing. We understand that every customer has their own pace. So by having that single hybrid subscription license, you can adopt cloud at the pace that makes sense for you.
Yeah, I think this hybrid topic will continue. It's been quite a big one in 2017, and it will definitely continue over the next few years as people start to tackle digital transformation. So we talked about it from yes, you can take your existing Lumira assets and leverage those. Blair talked about being able to take advantage of Analytics Cloud, and Analytics Hub is one place for all of your analytics content, whether it's on-premise or in the cloud, whether it's coming from SAP or maybe a third-party vendor. The Analytics Hub is a great way to really make that transition from on-premise to cloud seamless for your users. We talked about the new hybrid licensing that's coming, which is super exciting to make it easy to take advantage of both on-prem and cloud analytics from SAP. And the last thing that I'd add to that is, often as companies think about that transition to cloud, they're making investments in AWS or Azure or Google Cloud platform for the data, and you can also deploy your analytics there. So, of course, you could do that with Analytics Cloud, with our SaaS solution, but you can also take Business Objects Enterprise and Lumira and deploy that either on AWS as your Google Cloud platform or on HANA Enterprise Cloud, which is our managed cloud as a service offering as well. We've had several hundred customers actually that have done that with us already. So lots of options there as you think about digital transformation and how you take it to the cloud. We had another great question that came in, which was around developer community and what we're doing to support the developer community and how we see that expanding. I'll kick it off, Blair, and then feel free to add. We are so lucky to have such an amazing ecosystem of developers out there. And, I've been with the company for 15 years and joined Crystal, and right from the Crystal days, we made APIs available and had a very vibrant ecosystem, and you sort of see that come forward from Excelsius to dashboards to Design Studio and Lumira. So, right throughout the years, and thank you for all the developers out there that have been with us and continue to work with us and take advantage of those APIs and SDKs. On the Lumira side, it's a pretty vibrant community where there's if you go to Lumira.com and search, you can find a whole bunch of partners that have provided extensions, data extensions. So companies like Galileo or APOS who've built data extensions, and then visualization extensions. So a whole bunch of partners that have built new visualizations like waterfall charts or different graphs and charts that we don't support natively in the product, so you can extend that way as well. And we have also a vibrant OEM community where folks are building net new applications and are embedding analytics within those as well. So yeah, there's great assets out there. I highly encourage everyone to to search for them and look at stuff that's available. And then through GitHub, some of the developer extensions are also available for download and for free. So a great set of assets there that people can take advantage of as they're looking at building out their Lumira stories. Blair, anything else from your perspective?
Yeah, I think to underscore the importance of the developer community here, all of the extensions that were built on Design Studio 1.x and Lumira 1.x continue to be supported in Lumira 2.x. So we really want to make sure that the developers that invested in us, we continue to support those extensions that have already been created, and that's really crucial because we know that we cannot solve every business problem ourselves. We have a vibrant ecosystem of hundreds of partners, and we want to, enable the combination of SAP software, partner extensions, and our customers to create a very strong solution that'll address all of your business problems. So, yeah, I think that's really the key thing I want to add to your great summary already there, Jayne.
Oh, actually, one other thing I thought of, because we talk about from a product perspective, but the other way that we support that community is from a licensing perspective. So I mentioned the data extension SDK and the visualization SDK. There's a third one, which is the embed APIs and SDKs, where you can take a Lumira story and embed it in another application or in a public website. And with that last embed scenario, we've also recently introduce public document pricing. So if you have a scenario where you want to build out a Lumira story and embed it in a website and have hundreds of thousands of people or millions of people around the world view that story, we now have this public document mechanism that you can use to make that Lumira story very widely available.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jayne, and that's typically used in public sector type scenarios where you might have a hospital that wants to share emergency room wait time, or you might have election results that you want to share everywhere. Scenarios like that you can easily see using the public document licensing. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, and I know it started in regulated industries where there's a strong B2C or or government to citizen type of scenario. But I can see it being used, as you think about making analytics more pervasive, a lot of the use cases we're now starting to see around, I want to provide more information to my suppliers, I want to provide more information to my customers. So that type of public document mechanism really can help you bring analytics more broadly and make that insight more widely available.
Yeah, that's right. So, here we are, December 14th, just a few weeks away from the end of the year. Jayne, as you think back over the year, what are some of the highlights for you?
Oh, that's a great question. It's been a super busy year. I have to say one of the first highlights for me was BI 4.2. We had a goal this year of having over 7,000 customers move with us to BI 4.2, and we have a pretty high bar. It means that you've actually gone into SAP Service Marketplace and said, yep, I'm on BI 4.2. So we've hit that goal already for the year, and we've still got several weeks to go. So it was great to see that adoption, and also just the feedback we're getting on that release as well. And as we mentioned, BI 4.2 SP5 comes out tomorrow, and there's a bunch of great new features there as well. So that for me has been great to see just that momentum and how valuable that release has been. And for anyone who's already on BI 4, we really focused on making it an update, not an upgrade. So that I think has been really well appreciated as well as the new features like the new BI admin console that we've continued to enhance, so you can really understand how users are taking advantage of analytics, what they're using and what they're not using. Some really good stuff there. The second one for me would be Lumira 2.0. Highly anticipated, and so great to get that out the door and then see the number of people that are downloading it and taking advantage of it, and hearing today about how those end-to-end workflows are really working as well, which is what we envisioned when we originally designed it. And then the third thing for me for this year would be the progress we've made on hybrid BI. So, we talked about the launch of Analytics Hub. So that happened back in July. And again, we're seeing customers now take a look at that and recognize how powerful that can be to provide one place for all your analytics information. Often with analytics, users only get access to stuff, can only see the analytics that they've already been authorized for. So how do they even know what's out there in their environment that actually could be of use to them? Analytics Hub solves that problem. So you can search for all of the analytics available across your organization and then request that authorization. And as we talked about in terms of hybrid, it really is that first step of providing a single spot for all information, whether it's on premise today or whether it's going to be in the cloud tomorrow. The second thing there, leveraging those existing investments. So, being able to take advantage of Analytics Cloud to connect to your Lumira data sets, your business objects universes, all of the existing investments that people have made. And then, for 2018, those things that we're talking about, those existing incremental enhancements in our hybrid story from a product perspective, but also that new hybrid licensing that we've done a lot of work on this year as a team, and we'll bring it to market for folks in 2018. How about for you, Blair? What have been some of the highlights for you?
Yeah, I think for me, being a bit of a data geek, I'm really intrigued by BW for HANA and how it has succeeded in simplifying the BW experience. It takes full advantage of the power of HANA and uses it not just to make things faster, but to make things simpler. So you get all the rich business semantics of BW, but it's easier to get started and use. And in addition, it solves one of the big challenges of in data management today, which is how do you bring together that governed structured data with ungoverned IoT or sensor data that's typically found in Hadoop. So obviously you don't want to take your structured financials out of BW and put it into Hadoop. You lose all the governance, you lose all the structure. You don't want to take the wild west of data that's, basically streaming sensor data that's in Hadoop and put it into BW. So what we're doing is we're basically supporting federated queries so that BW can query and accelerate Hadoop data using a product called Hanavora under the hood, and combine that governed structured financial data with sensor data from the machines that are actually doing the mining or doing the manufacturing in the plants and factories. So this has kind of been the holy grail for a long, long time. And for so long that it's almost been two separate data worlds. And now BW can bring those together. And then finally, there's really the huge advancements in machine learning, AI, and robotics that continues to redefine what's possible out there. So, the pace of change just continues to accelerate, and it's a really exciting time to be in the technology and analytics business.
Definitely. I cannot believe we're only 2 weeks away from the end of the year. This year has just flown by with, everything that we've been working on. I can't believe it's the end of the year's here. 2018 fast approaching. So Blair, look into your crystal ball. What's your prediction for 2018?
All right. 2018. Well, I think it's just a lot of the trends that we're going to see in 2018 already exist today. It's just going to accelerate even faster. So we're seeing accelerated cloud adoption for both software as a service and platform as a service for applications and data now, including data warehousing. So the pace of adoption for cloud-based solutions for data warehousing is really accelerating. And as we see cloud adoption move forward, it's important to remind everyone that when we say cloud, we don't just mean SAP Analytics Cloud. We also mean native support for the BI platform to be able to take the licenses that you own today and run it natively on HANA Enterprise Cloud or Microsoft Azure or Amazon Web Services. So, or even IBM SoftLayer. So you can lift and shift and transition to the cloud in a very non-disruptive manner in a way that supports all of the software that you run today. And we're going to continue to make progress towards our goal of delivering both agility and governance, because there's such a false choice out there between, forcing users to trade off between agility and governance. And we think that's a false choice, and users should have both, right? So we're going to continue to make progress towards that. And again, the other trend that we're going to continue to see is blurring of the traditional analytic silos together. And these are historic silos that are based on what was possible with software 10, 15, 20 years ago in the realm of planning and BI and predictive. And now we've got the technologies and the hardware that can combine those into a more holistic solution that avoids these artificial lines between use cases. So how about you, Jayne? What are your predictions for 2018?
Well, my prediction for 2018 is that 2018 will be the year of the intelligent enterprise. And why I'm making that prediction is from the work that we've done this year around SAP Leonardo. We launched it at Sapphire, where we've brought together machine learning, IoT, analytics, blockchain, and we're now working with customers to solve end-to-end use cases around it. So traditionally, when we've thought about analytics, we've applied it more to data that's coming out of transactional systems. But now I'm seeing it being applied to the combination of data that's coming from transactions, machines, and from conversations. And the level of interest we've had from customers, we've got over 500 customer engagements now around the globe. And analytics is core and key to every one of these scenarios. So I predict next year of the intelligent enterprise, and it's just going to explode in 2018. So lastly, what are you doing for the holidays, Blair? What does the holidays look like for you?
Well, I've been a snowboarder for a long, long time, so I've succeeded in getting the family up on board. So all four of us will probably head up to the mountains. I live in Calgary, as you know, which if you're not familiar with Calgary, it's kind of like the Denver of Canada. It's kind of in Western Canada here, about an hour from the Rockies. So we're blessed with lots of great options to go skiing and snowboarding. So the family will go out there and enjoy some crisp winter air. Very
nice. Yeah, Canadian Rockies are spectacular. Have fun with it.
Yeah. How about you, Jayne?
Well, I'm going to the opposite end of the world. As you may notice, I have an accent, a little bit of an accent, and it's a New Zealand accent. So we're taking my husband and the kids, and we're all heading down to New Zealand to spend some time with my family in New Zealand, and looking forward to holidays in summer, because it's summer down there. So we'll be having our holiday meal in shorts and T-shirts, and eating salads and lots of seafood, and probably have a dip in the pool.
Those sound like lovely plans. I love the Rockies. Never been to the Canada Rockies, and New Zealand's on my bucket list. So,
you, Avery, what's your plan?
Yeah, it sounds lovely. I wanted to echo out Carl's comment as we close out this broadcast. He said, great job to the both of you, and you did an awesome job. Thanks for the session and the opportunity to ask questions and have them answered. Very valuable. So I want to take the time to thank you as well, and thank our audience for participating. It was a great chat. Make sure to join us next month on January 10th. I hope I'm remembering that date correctly, where we are actually going to talk more in depth about the SAP Analytics Hub. So if you want to learn more, make sure to join us there. Meanwhile, have a great day. Thank you for joining.
Thanks, everyone. Happy holidays.